Døds, or death diving, is a really extreme form of diving. So you run all you can towards the edge, then you throw yourself out there and you try to stay open as long as you can before you hit the water. So it really hurts and you hit the water really, really hard, and you're supposed to make as big splash as you can.
Oh, gets it around!
Døds Federation started in 2008, making the Døds World Championship. And it was just growing so quickly and became so popular in Norway. For the past years, we brought it over to Denmark, Sweden, Finland, where it's also growing really quickly. And we looked in our social media channels and stuff, and we saw the biggest growth is actually in the US. So now, for the first time, we're bringing Døds Challenge over to the US, and we're gonna make it huge. So this is gonna be very exciting.
We already knew that the cloud was a viable option for us for many of our productions. And as a production company, it was very important to get the elasticity of the cloud, where we can have the right amount of production resources linked to the right amount of need that we had at the current moment. But there was one major challenge that we faced with the cloud, and that is that it's quite resource heavy to getting it set up. We needed different engineers with different skill sets to work together in order to get a working setup. And this took a lot of time. In this production, we have used Viz Now, and that has significantly reduced our setup time, and we were able to get on air with the cloud platform quickly. For this production, the Døds Challenge in Austin, we're running the camera people locally, obviously, but they're also the only production crew that's actually on site. We're taking their feeds through a live view system back into a clouded Viz vector, where we're mixing our videos and running our clips. We're running the Harrison Mix Bus system to run our audio, and the Telus intercom system to communicate between the different sites.
Texas, can you hear hell in Norway?
And then we have a replay system as well, the 3-play system.
And slow, run it.
Where we can actually run replays, highlights, and so on in the cloud as well. Both the director, the slow motion operator, and the producer, in addition to an engineer, is sitting here in Oslo, and they are running the whole show and instructing the camera people on site. In addition, here on site in Oslo, we also have the commentators. They're sitting in a green screen studio here, and they're commentating. They're able to be put on camera, and the camera feeds, as well as their microphones, are fed through the cloud through the NDI bridge. It all gets composited on a data center here in Europe, and then we're streaming it live out from that location.
With a hand-dragged 1080!
The 3-camera setup on site is very, very cost efficient because all the infrastructure is essentially cloud-based, and at home, these kinds of cost-efficient way to produce, and you can add, for smaller sports, you can add a lot more production and production value to many events throughout the year, which is, I think, a great step in the right direction.
When preparing for this production, I received the credentials from Viz RT and logged into the Viz Now system. I started up a fully new deployment and selected the necessary applications from vision mixing, audio mixing, intercom, and all the other necessary tools that I needed for the production. Once they were selected, I was able to simply enter and boot them up, and they all started up without me having to go into the configuration tool of the cloud platform. I then configured my NDI bridge to work with the NDI bridge that I have on-prem to run my cameras, and also set up all the KVM clients I needed for the specific production. And once that was all configured, I was ready to set up my Viz vector and get ready to produce my show.
Well, for me as a director, I think the experience is pretty much the same as a traditional on-prem production, but the user interface really makes this easier. It's very easy to use, and the amounts of sources and possibilities to tweak and adapt those sources and use those sources is essentially endless. And it's because it's so easy to use, I think it's a magnificent tool.
Oh, the trip!
Viz RT.